blasting, billowing, bursting forth with the power of 10 billion butterfly sneezes.
This is Wine, Money, and Song. And if you want an insider's view of the wine industry, and if you're interested in learning about wines in different wine areas, please subscribe. So over the summer, I have accrued some of my tasting notes, and these are some of the bottles that I've gone through. And the reason why I do these wine reviews, and I never give points out. I don't believe in points. I like to describe the wines to you and give a little history of the wines and what they should be like and compare it to other vintages. But I'm trying to draw upon my experience and share it with you so you can understand the wines better. And for me to put 95 points, what does that mean? Yeah, what does it mean? And as I said many times in the past, I've had 100-point wines that I personally didn't like. Now, it doesn't mean it's not a really good wine. It's just I didn't like it. And it could be well made, but everyone has to have their own judgment. And part of the reason why hopefully you're watching this and taking part in this is that you want to build up and accrue knowledge and how to go through trying wines and what you should look for in wines. And that's what Wine, Money, and Song is about. And finding the best values in wine. So this episode's going to be the Bordeaux, a few Bordeaux that I've tried in the last few months. And I'm going to describe each of them and give you a price backup on it. And all these wines I enjoyed. And I enjoyed them because most of them come out of my cellar, and I know the quality of wine. So in a way, I'm checking in with you, and a lot of people are going to find a hard time finding these wines in the market, but I'm trying to share my experience with you. So the first two wines are inexpensive Bordeaux, Chateau Lanessan, which is a Haut-Brion, and I've always favored these wines. They're not dramatic, they're not over the top, they're not overly complex, but they're very well made wines. And they're inexpensive, but if you want to introduce Bordeaux to people, as you know, the Haut-Brion is near Margaux, and some of the wines like La Lagune is right on the border of Margaux, and you get some of the Margaux qualities in some of these wines. With the Lanessan is around 50% Cabernet, so it's a high, there's 40% Merlot, whatever it is, and you get a softer wine. But the 2015 and the 2016 are back-to-back really good vintages. Now, the 2015 was a vintage of warmth and sun, and I like the 15s a lot, but they're more immediate and they're going to be enjoyable over earlier consumption, and I think they'll age well because they have good balance in fruit, but they are much more overt fruity and warmer than the 16s, which are more classic but are going to need more time. But with these two wines, they follow exactly their varietal characteristics should. In the 15, the Lanessan is open, ready to drink, round, and a very nice Bordeaux. You get the ripeness of the 15s, and you can drink this wine for the next 5, 6, 10 years. Very nice wine, and I believe I paid, what did I pay for this? I paid $17, and this is a direct import of Total Wine, and it's a very good price. And the 2016 is very vintage characteristic of it. It's more classically styled. The wine is going to age a little longer, and it's not as open as the 15 is for business, but it is really well made, and it's one of the better Lanessans I had. I have about 5 or 6 different vintages of Lanessan in my cellar, and The 2009 is very good too. The 2009 is very good. And the 16's classically balanced, but very delicious, and there's a texture to the wine that you get from really good vintages. So 15 and 16, highly recommend the 16. The next wine is a Pomerol, Chateau Certan de May, a Pomerol, and it's in a very good area surrounded by famous Pomerol estates. Now, the 1995 vintage, I feel the 95 Certan de May is ready to drink now, and it's one of the few wines in 95 that I find is at its peak. A lot of 95s have been very slowly evolving. This is one that's very soft, round, ready to drink, plummy fruit, medium bodied, and it has a little orange breaking around the side. Open to business, ready to go, and is a good example of Pomerol. Liked it, but drinking in the next 5 years. The next wine is Chateau Canon, Saint-Emilion, 1985 vintage. Now, I picked up 3 bottles at auction of this wine. I own maybe 10 other vintages of Canon. I own a few cases of the 82 Canon, which is a great vintage. The 15 and 16 of Canon are very good, but all the vintages, and I don't remember having this originally. I'm sure I had a bottle back in the 87 or 88. I tried the 85, but trying this wine now, if you think about it, it's like 40 years old. The wine's incredible. And the 85 vintage is such a classic Bordeaux vintage, and it's gone under everyone's radar. 85 Leoville Lascaux, 85 Haut-Brion, and what am I missing? I'm missing one more other wine that's simply off the charts. It'll come to me. These 85s are classically styled and very elegant and just so nuanced, and this wine is soft, round, but still has good backbone and shows you the limestone that they have in the soil. And 85 Canon, absolutely delicious and classic. Leoville Lascaux is the other wine I'm thinking of. Great wine in 1985. Very memorable, 40-year-old wine. It's going to live another 10, 15 years at least. Okay, the fifth wine. 1995 Leoville Barton, second growth Bordeaux, and own a lot of Leoville Barton. The 95 is a more solid, richer style than many of the other 95s, and has a little more ripeness in it. And it's classic Saint-Julien. Really good earth, and more on the full side than some of the other wines in the vintage. And you can't go wrong with Leoville Barton in any vintage, generally. The 94 vintage I've had a few months ago, and that's very solid. And a lot of the 94s are wishy-washy. But Leoville Barton, very, very consistent. The last bottle, you see it's in a magnum format, 2 bottles, and it's the 1998 Bahans Haut-Brion. And Bahans Haut-Brion is the second label of Haut-Brion. I think in 2003 or 2007, it became La Clarence Haut-Brion. But until that point, it was Bahans Haut-Brion. And it's a second selection, but 1998 is a great vintage for Grave. And I pulled out the Magnum on my birthday. And I said to my son, who's now 23, I said, "Are you willing to drink this with me?" I says, because when I open up a big bottle, I don't like
keeping it, and, you know, I like it to be fresh. I don't want any oxidation. So he says, yeah, I'm going to drink it with you. So we opened, and my son made me very proud. We polished this bottle off, and it was a splendid example of Grave. And it does have a lot of the imprints of Haut-Brion in this vintage. It's like burnt brick, very, very gravelly, and warm earth, and delicious currant fruit, round. And each glass we had, it got better and better. It got better and better. And I'm trying to think what I paid for it. I probably paid $120 for this Magnum back then. Now, if you buy Le Clarence, starts like at $150 per bottle, and this is a Magnum, so 2 bottles. So that's the idea about collecting wine. Now, this is Bordeaux, and I had a pretty good summer drinking some of these Bordeaux, so hopefully this helps you understand more.